I want to talk to you about the James Harden saga that's going on with the Houston Rockets and the unlikely team that actually has the pieces to trade for him. Right now, everybody's saying James Harden is holding out. As we've seen probably yesterday morning or this morning, he is reported to camp for the COVID-19 protocol. I never put too much stock that he was actually holding out. James Harden is one of those guys who loves to play basketball. He's not going to sit out a whole season. All he was trying to do is turn on the pressure on the Houston Rockets. As John Wall has said a previous day prior, he talked to James Harden, and James Harden was going to play this season. But if you're James Harden, the trade request doesn't completely go away. He said he wants to go to a contender. Everybody's reporting Brooklyn and the Philadelphia 76ers. The problem with the 76ers is, like, if you trade James Harden to the 76ers, the only player you really accept back is Ben Simmons. And if you're James Harden and you go to the 76ers and Ben Simmons is gone, Philadelphia is no longer really a contender with just James Harden and Joel Embiid, because if you put those two guys against KD and Kyrie, the edge is probably going to KD and Kyrie. The Bucks have a better supporting cast around Giannis. They're really just a middle-of-the-pack team with those two guys, or they're really the same. They're in the same boat as Houston was the last couple of years, so it wouldn't make sense to go to the Philadelphia 76ers. Also, the other team they're reporting that he's going to go to or possibly interested in is the Brooklyn Nets. And the reason I say he won't go to the Brooklyn Nets is, if you're the Houston Rockets, you don't want to trade an all-NBA player for draft picks that won't amount to anything, or you don't want to trade them for non-prospects. I get it, Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie have proven to be pretty decent players, but it seems like they've maxed out their talent, and they're not going to be all-star level players. You don't trade MVP all-star level players for just a potential one-time, two-time all-star. It doesn't happen. So for him to get traded, it has to be a team that has potential all-stars or potential MVPs. And that one team is the Denver Nuggets. Just take a second. The Denver Nuggets have enough young pieces where they can trade for James Harden, and then the Rockets and the Nuggets can feel like they won the trade. The Nuggets, surprisingly, last year made the Western Conference Finals after making the semifinals the year before. They're clearly an ascending team. They have a rising star in Jamal Murray. They have what's considered to be the best center in the league in Nikola Jokic. You can make a trade that sends James Harden there. You got Jamal Murray, James Harden, Nikola Jokic, Gary Harris. That team looks like, that could be a team that wins the finals and really challenges the Lakers. To make that trade happen, you'd have to include some of the bright young pieces that they have. I think Denver Nuggets have two of the brightest young pieces on their roster in the NBA, and that happens to be Michael Porter Jr. and Bol. I think if you make a trade centered around Michael Porter Jr., Bol for James Harden, add in the pieces to fill in the salary, maybe a pick. I think if I'm the Houston Rockets, I would gamble on that, because not only would I have future stars on my roster, I'd also have, maybe a pick, maybe another veteran player. Maybe they throw in Will Barton or somebody like that. And then the Denver Nuggets still have at least a Gary Harris type piece with a James Harden, Jamal Murray, Paul Millsap, Nikola Jokic. That'd be a tough team to beat in the playoffs, and they'd be a legitimate championship contender. Well, I know Denver isn't one of the sexier places to go as a free agent or a marquee star to be traded to. I think that's James Harden's best chance to get traded and win a championship. If he gets traded to the Brooklyn Nets, Houston Rockets would clearly be losing the trade. If he got traded to the 76ers, Ben Simmons leaving kind of takes away their super team feel. The Denver Nuggets are the only team you can get traded to and still that are a contender, and they can still be considered a super team. I wouldn't count it out, but the Denver Nuggets are sitting pretty with their young stars, and they're already superstars who are still young as well. They've got a core that can be challenging for a finals appearance for the next 10, 15 years. So who knows if they're willing to give up their young players. But if they are, getting Michael Porter Jr. and Bol back for James Harden is probably the best deal that could possibly be on the market.